Loretta Saunders was born on August 25, 1987. Although Loretta looks like a white person, she was actually born into an indigenous family in Newfoundland and Labrador. This is a province located in the easternmost part of Canada with majestic nature and breathtaking scenery. Loretta's parents are Clayton Saunders and Mariam Saunders. She has 7 siblings. Both Loretta and her siblings are said to have experienced a difficult and deprived childhood. Although they lived far apart, they were still very affectionate and close. When Loretta was in grade 9, with the stubborn personality of a teenage girl, she dropped out of school and moved to Montreal. During this time, she hung out with many bad elements and started using illegal drugs. Loretta gradually became addicted and became homeless and lived on the streets. But deep down, Loretta's desire to live a good life remained. A few years later, she decided to go to rehab and start her life over. Loretta returned to Newfoundland, where she successfully kicked her addiction and completed high school. She was then accepted into St. Mary's University's criminology program in the beautiful coastal city of Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. In February 2014, Loretta's life was looking up. She was about to graduate with a bachelor's degree in criminology, and she had a wonderful relationship with her longtime boyfriend, Yelchin Sakulte. She was 3 months pregnant, and the two were excited to welcome their first child. Loretta had signed a long-term lease on an apartment at 41 Cowie Hill Drive. Since Yelchin already had his own apartment, Loretta decided to move in with him and rent out a room in her apartment to earn extra income. Loretta had the strength to turn her life around and make positive changes. There were so many wonderful things waiting for her. Then, on February 14, 2014, Loretta's sister Delilah received a call from Yelchin asking if she knew where Loretta was. He had been unable to reach Loretta and was extremely worried. Yelchin said that he received 2 strange messages from Loretta before losing contact with her completely. In one message, Loretta said that she had forgotten her password to her online banking account.
She said she was stressed and she locked herself out and online banking, and she needed money. It's like I'm so stressed that I can't even remember my own mother's maiden name. We need to get her back.
She was so stressed that she had been locked out of her account and needed money urgently. She was so stressed that she couldn't even remember her mother's last name. In the second message, Loretta said that she was going to sleep at a friend's house and would call Yelchin later. Yelchin said he didn't know who the friend was, and the message seemed curt, unlike the way Loretta usually texted him. Like Yelchin, Delilah had not heard from her sister. As the hours passed, the family grew more and more worried. They called everyone, hoping someone knew where Loretta was, but to no avail. Her car was also gone, but all of her personal belongings were at home. On the 3rd day after Loretta's disappearance, her family decided to call the police. Police learned that Yelchin was the last person to see Loretta on February 13th. Loretta told Yelchin that she had a busy day ahead of her, including a final paper to finish. The first thing she had to do that day was go to her apartment to collect the rent. Yelchin said Loretta was completely fine when she hugged him goodbye, so the 2 messages he received afterward were very strange. Police searched the couple's home, but found nothing suspicious. They then went to Loretta's apartment at 41 Cowie Hill Drive, but no one was there. Police interviewed several neighbors, and they said it appeared that the couple who rented the apartment had gone out since Valentine's Day and had not returned. The building's security cameras covered the entire entrance area, showing Loretta entering the building around 11 a.m. on February 13th. The camera footage showed Loretta looking completely normal, with no unusual behavior. It had been 4 days, and there was a lot of security camera footage to review. Loretta's mysterious disappearance attracted a great deal of public and media attention. People pitched in to help with the search, handing out flyers in hopes of finding clues to help find Loretta.
I'd like to make a national plea to see if anyone has seen her car or has any information. She is so strong, and that's what's keeping me going through this, knowing that she wouldn't want us, wasting time crying and, sitting around feeling bad. She's so smart, and she is my world. She's my everything.
Since Loretta's family was short on cash, a crowdfunding campaign was launched to help her family fly to Halifax to join the search. The police also contacted the couple who rented the house from Loretta, but they said they had not heard from Loretta and were in a city 200 miles away, so they could not be of much help. Police soon discovered that Loretta's bank card was still being used via contactless payment. When this news was learned, everyone hoped that Loretta was somewhere but safe. Around 5 p.m. on February 13th, Loretta's bank card was used at a Tim Hortons. Loretta's blue Toyota was also seen outside the store. Although the footage was blurry, 2 people could be seen in the car. In another video taken from inside the store, the employee initially obscured the car. But after a while, when the employee moved to the side, it was revealed that the driver was a white man. This was definitely not Loretta's boyfriend. Just minutes earlier, Loretta's car was also recorded at a nearby grocery store. A woman in a blue jacket got out of the passenger seat and walked into the store. Here, Loretta's bank card was used again. This woman was clearly not Loretta, so who was she? How did they get her bank card and car? The next day, the Halifax Police Department received a call from another police department saying that they had located Loretta's car parked outside a house in Harrow, Ontario, hundreds of miles away. When police knocked on the door of the house, they found none other than Victoria Henneberry and Blake Leggett, the couple who had rented Loretta's apartment. Blake claimed that Loretta had sold them her car, but insisted that he had nothing to do with her disappearance. However, police soon learned that both Blake and Victoria were convicted felons in other provinces. When police searched Victoria and Blake, they found Loretta's phone and bank card.
It's now 8 days since a young Inuit woman vanished without a trace in Nova Scotia. And while her car has turned up in southern Ontario, Loretta Saunders has not. That's left police and her family with a lot of questions.
Her car was found at this home in Harrow, Ontario. Her 2 new roommates, Victoria Henneberry and Blake Leggett, were charged with stealing Saunders' vehicle and improper use of her bank card.
They're facing charges for the use of a bank card belonging to Miss Saunders.
My worst fear? That they're keeping her somewhere. I still think that she's there somewhere.
As the search for evidence continues, investigators are preparing to travel to Ontario and bring the 2 accused back to Nova Scotia.
Meanwhile, the police team responsible for reviewing the security camera data also discovered a chilling truth. At around 2:30 p.m. on February 13, 2014, Blake was carrying a Huggy bag that looked very heavy. He took the bag out, then returned to the building. Half an hour later, he carried more bags out. On the 3rd trip, Blake left the building with Victoria, the woman in the blue jacket seen in the store. The police's professional intuition told them that it was very likely that Loretta was no longer alive and that the Huggy bag was her body. When the police checked Blake's phone, they found a short video that had been recorded just a few days before Loretta disappeared. Both Blake and Victoria appeared to be drunk.
Are you hungry?
Stop it!
Are you hungry?
Away from me.
Are you hungry?
You can't even say that you really want to kill Loretta.
Really?
And you said that you want to kill her earlier.
When did I say that?
Don't lie about who I want to kill, and maybe you should stop lying.
Who do you want to kill then?
You're the one who said,
You
"Oh, I want to
you
kill
just
Loretta. I can't
you
wait
just
till
said
she comes back
you're
here."
okay.
The police knew that it would be easier to get information from Victoria than from Blake, so they showed her the videotapes. After some questioning, Victoria admitted that Blake had killed Loretta by suffocating her with a plastic bag. The reason was that they did not want to pay the rent. It turned out that Loretta had become increasingly upset with Blake and Victoria because they never paid their rent on time. Around February 2014, Blake and Victoria were 2 months behind on their rent, prompting Loretta to demand that the couple move out of the apartment if they continued to not pay. On February 13th, Victoria lied that they had enough money to pay her. They asked Loretta to come to the apartment. While Loretta was waiting on the sofa, Blake came up from behind and attacked her. Loretta fought for her life with all her might. The two wrestled on the floor. Blake grabbed 3 plastic bags that had been prepared earlier and put them over her head, but Loretta ripped them off. However, Blake was a strong man, while Loretta was a weak, pregnant woman. Blake quickly overpowered Loretta. He slammed her head against the floor several times, knocking her unconscious, then covered her head with a plastic bag until she stopped breathing. They then put Loretta's body in a Huggy bag and loaded it into her own car. The couple drove off as if nothing had happened. They bought food using Loretta's bank card via contactless payment, no password required. However, they wanted access to all of Loretta's bank accounts, so they texted Yelchin asking for her mother's last name. It was probably a security question that Loretta had set. The 2 strange messages Yelchin received were not from Loretta, but from her killer. Victoria agreed to lead the police to where they had hidden Loretta's body, near a highway 300 miles away. Loretta was still in the Huggy bag, and the autopsy showed that she died of asphyxiation. Loretta's future and life were taken away for a senseless reason. For only $600 in rent, the evil couple was willing to kill a young girl and her unborn child. Canadians in general, and Halifax in particular, held vigils for Loretta across the country. The Loretta Community Scholarship Fund was also established in 2014 in her memory. In March 2014, hundreds of people packed the halls of St. Mary's University for a memorial service for Loretta Saunders.
And we're here to honor her, remember her, respect her.
Your life was truly precious. We all miss your glamour and cheer. Know that you will never be forgotten. I know your spirit still lingers here.
Blake pleaded guilty to first-degree murder, while Victoria pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. Blake was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for at least 25 years, while Victoria was sentenced to life with the right to apply for parole after 10 years. Loretta's father said the sentences were too lenient for the crimes they committed against his daughter.
Blood on her hands from my daughter, and she got 10 years. Now what kind of justice is that? You tell me what kind of justice. A pregnant woman, a small little pregnant woman, 2 big monsters. And you know, they say they give us justice. 10 years. Is that justice? Anybody? Pregnant women, murdered. 2 murderers. I would like to see the death penalty come in. I would like to see the death penalty and cold-blooded murderers be taken off the street once and for all. They haven't got a right to breathe the air what we breathe, because they took the life of my daughter and my grandchild. They murdered her without mercy. And I think we should have no mercy on them.
As I walked down to the courthouse, deep down in my heart, I was praying and I was saying, God, if you're real, I'm sorry to be questioning you. If you're real, God, and you really have my daughter with you, please ask them to plead guilty. And it was so funny. Then I would say, oh my God, what's like? I was talking to God. And God answered my prayer. And all the prayers, the people, supporters who've been praying for us all through, our prayers was answered. And I like to thank everybody. I'm so mixed feeling. I'm hurting. I'm going to miss my girl. I'm glad that we don't have to go through what we had to do. And I'm feeling bad for their parents. I don't know. I'm overwhelmed. I'm really overwhelmed.
2017, Victoria withdrew her earlier guilty plea and claimed that she was of Indigenous descent. Indigenous people are the first Native American people to live in the Americas. They received many favors from the US and Canadian governments. Therefore, Victoria seems to want to take advantage of this to escape punishment. Victoria sent many letters asking Native women's rights organizations to help her get out of prison early, but all of her applications were rejected. Loretta has made many mistakes in the past, but her determination to overcome herself and rebuild her life is admirable. Loretta's goal after graduating is to study law so that she can help abducted and murdered Native girls. Perhaps Loretta never expected that she would become one of the victims she always tried to protect. In the introduction of Loretta's graduation thesis, she wrote that she wanted to inspire young girls who have fallen into sin to help them believe that they can change their fate the way Loretta changed her life. Sadly, she never had the chance to complete her thesis. As you can see, anything can happen in life, and dangers that come to us can come from seemingly the most trivial reasons. So in this life, raise your awareness of protecting yourself and your loved ones, so that in the future, you will no longer have to say, if only. What do you think of today's case? Comment below to let us know. Don't forget to like, share the video, and subscribe to the channel to help us have the motivation to continue making better content. Goodbye and see you in the next videos, if any.